So the Carolina Panthers organization just released their, I guess, documentary style offseason video titled The Blueprint. And for lack of better words, this thing is must-see TV. Wait a minute, it's not even must-see TV. It's cinema. I'm telling you, it is cinema, man. And I have my doubts, I'm not going to lie, because Bill Voth, who's been a part of the content team and the media team for forever, he actually recently left the organization. So him being a big part of Camp Confidential and a lot of the other initiatives that makes the Carolina Panthers social media team just so great over the years. With him being gone, I was really curious about what things would look like. But this first installment of the Blueprint did not disappoint, man. And the nuggets that we got from this first slot just showed me a lot, man. It has me feeling good. So in this video today, I'm going to talk about what I noticed in this video that could reveal a big turnaround for the Carolina Panthers in a hurry. We're talking about all that and more, and we're starting right now. What up, though? It's Aaron Duncan here with the Necessary Blunt and Sports Talk, bringing you recap and analysis of the Panthers. So make sure you are subscribed if you have not, because I do news, film breakdowns, podcast, analysis, live streams, all of the above. If you want Panthers content in any form or fashion, I've got the audio, I got the video, I got all the above. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss any of that, because we're talking about something like this, man. This is actually major, because if you are a football junkie like your boy, or a Carolina Panthers junkie like your boy, you was itching for that fix. You know, we got that long 5 or 6 week period from when mini camp ends to training camp, and I got a couple videos in the clip that I can unload on y'all. But this Panthers content is what we needed, that behind the scenes, the mic'd up, the in-depth analysis, the in-depth look at what the Panthers are doing with this new coaching staff. Everything I saw from this first part revolved around the coaching staff, obviously. Frank Reich, the introductory press conference, all the feels and the nostalgia, you know what I'm saying? I'm a millennial, so I'm a sucker for nostalgia, of course, but all the feels and all that stuff about Frank Reich returning to where he once quarterbacked the team in the team's first year. Obviously, Dom Capers was discussed. He was the first coach in team history, and it was just a whirlwind of different things. And they had sat these guys down in the room, showed them all these ancient artifacts, and they even talked about the connection of Frank Reich, Dom Capers playing their first game back in Carolina, in Atlanta, the place where everything began. The first game in team history was in Atlanta. So it gave all that breakdown and all those nuggets there. And like I said, I'm a sucker for nostalgia. I will be wearing my vintage stuff, just like I am now. Week 1, of course, down in Atlanta. I have my Frank Reich jersey in the closet, man. I got the Frank Reich jersey in the closet. I will be rocking that on week 1. I'm all about the nostalgia. I'm telling you guys, I'm not playing around with them. But regardless, they also talked about some of the other coaches. James Campen got his little spotlight in the glory. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't really do a lot of press. But what I really thought was good about Frank Reich and his mentality and what he talked about with James Campen, he allowed James Campen to get in front of the meeting and give a word. James Campen talked about getting a PhD in football and getting better from each other, not just learning from the vets and the young guys learning from the vets, but the vets learning from the young guys, or the guys that have been in the league just for a few years or less years than them. Because there's always something you can bring. The game is always changing. The game is always moving forward. Though you may have been in the game for a minute, there's still something you can learn from the young guys. This mentality is great because they're brothers. You're going to battle, quote unquote, for lack of better words, with these guys, and they have their own experience. They're all a diverse background, and especially with a bunch of new bodies in the building, everybody's experiences are different. So feeding off of that is the right way to go. And James Campen, top 5 offensive line coach in the league, he showed his weight last year in the first year, turning this thing around, turning a weakness into a strength. So I take his word for as bond, you know what I'm saying? Because this dude forgot more football about offensive line than I've ever learned. So salute to him on that. But also, they talked about what went into Thomas Brown, not connected to anybody there. And Frank Reich talked about how when he first got hired, he tapped into his network, but he wanted to step out of that network as well. And that's exactly what he did with guys like Thomas Brown and Ejiro Evera, both coordinators, you know what I'm saying? So Thomas Brown, obviously from that McVay tree, but he talked about his diverse background from being a strength and conditioning coach for teams. And even going back to his playing days in Georgia, I know some of you guys probably don't even remember Thomas Brown. I'm old enough to remember Thomas Brown playing and taking handoffs from Matthew Stafford. Yes, Super Bowl winning Matt Stafford was a teammate of Thomas Brown. And it's just crazy to see that, me being old enough and remembering memories vividly from him at UGA running the ball and now being a coach for my favorite team. It says a lot. But Thomas Brown has that mentality. He's short. I mean, he's quick-witted. He's smart. He's bright. He's brilliant. He brings out, like I said, a diverse background. He was the offensive coordinator in Miami in college, but came to the Sean McVay tree, was a tight end coach and running backs coach, but now he has a different philosophy coming with Frank Reich. But I love the fact that they talk about that diversity of thought. It's not a bunch of yes men. It's not Frank Reich running around this tape like we've seen before and what we've heard before of a guy just running around rah, 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 getting his way, having all these one-liners and catchphrases and having all these little signs that you have to go run and touch and all these different things. Yeah, you saw them having fun and having certain things with the drills and stuff in practice, but it wasn't no cheesy catchphrases or lines or T-shirts and stuff like that we've seen before from certain salesmen that was our head coach. But you love to see that it's not just a be-all, end-all from him. He's empowering other coaches. When you empower other coaches, especially when you have guys that were interviewed for head coaching positions like here, Thomas Brown and Ejiro Evero, both interviewed for head coaching positions. So you can't really just try to talk down on these guys. You empower them. And that's exactly what he's done. But at the same time, let him get his own, obviously, philosophies and what he wants to do in there as well. And it's just, like I said, a diversity of thought. I also love the spot that they did on Josh McCown. Talked about Josh McCown, the wealth of experience he had, how he's already carried himself like a coach because he's been in that mentor role before so long, being experienced, but also being that backup or that bridge guy. We saw him being that bridge guy for the New York Jets with Sam Darnold. He has that experience in that scenario, and he's been around a lot of different systems, so he knows a lot. So Frank Reich said that he couldn't imagine a better quarterback coach for Bryce Young. Obviously, he's going to brag on him, but another opportunity of empowering a guy who will probably be a coach here in the near future. Could be the offensive coordinator in waiting if things go well for Thomas Brown and he gets shipped up out of town or gets another opportunity. But also, they talked about Ejiro Evero, and we really got a little bit more in-depth because Ejiro Evero is a little bit more buttoned up in his press conferences. He's tight-lipped. He doesn't give all those X's and O's and stuff like Thomas Brown or Frank Reich does. He's real tight-lipped, but he's also a player's coach. You can tell he's real tactical, but he's also real down to earth with these guys. And you get that feel from all the coaches, man. It's not just like here, rah there, and I'm the man, you do what I say. It's conversations, it's jokes, it's putting your arm around them, it's getting them hyped up, it's challenging them, it's pushing them. Ejiro Evero, they said it on there. They were just like, hey, Scott Fitter said, hey, I was told that the interview went 13 hours with the Indianapolis Colts. And they told him, hey, if you hire this guy, you're going to be looking for a defensive coordinator within a year. And that sucks, unfortunately, because as selfishly, I'm a Panthers fan. I would love to keep a good guy like that around. But if he does well enough to earn a coaching position, that means ultimately the success of the team was super high, especially the defense, and which is definitely going to be key for us as we usher in a new era with a quarterback like Bryce Young. But the highlight, obviously, of the video was Deuce Staley. Yes, Deuce bringing the juice. He said it himself. He was like, my position group, my running backs, they have no choice but to bring that juice. It's mandatory. It's not even an option. It is mandatory that they bring that energy and bring that juice every day. Brian Burns, you can even have a clip of him and Brian Burns together. And
there you go. Oh, yeah, no question. No question. I'm going to be the lighter fluid, too. You already know what time it is. Hey, don't get mad at me. You won.
But you can see Deuce Staley going as a defender because most of the people on the team that talk trash are defenders, whether it's J.C. Horn or especially Von Bell. We've seen about Von Bell in the past as he's been a Saints opponent. Him and Von Bell were going at it like Deuce was still playing. And the defense would make a play, and they would come let Deuce know about it. J.C. Horn even gave the football to Deuce. Deuce was talking trash like he was ready to suit up and put pads on himself. And he talked about how that competitiveness, he told Brian Burns, that competitiveness that they had. He said when he was in Pittsburgh, when they went to the Super Bowl, they fought every day at practice. And they had the number one defense and the number two offense. And it really just brought the best out of them, the competitive juices, letting you guys know that we're still brothers, but I'm going to get after it every day at practice. And that's the type of mentality that we need to have. Deuce Staley has head coach written over him as well because he just knows how to get you hyped up. I mean, I'm way past my football playing days, but he got me ready to put on some shoulder pads, you know what I'm saying, and get it going just because I'm a competitor myself. I like to talk trash, which is why I talk trash on this YouTube channel, of course, but it gets my juices flowing and it gets me ready to play some ball, man. So Deuce Staley is an asset, man. He's really going to bring out the best, I think, in everybody because you see he pushes that defense to compete. He pushes the offense to help back up his trash talk. And that running back group, he's talking about that juice. We see a little bit more dog coming out of Chuba Hubbard. He already has experience with Miles Sanders, and Blackshear is there too, a young guy going into his second year. I want to see him get that dog out of some of these guys in his backfield who have been maybe passive at times. Not necessarily saying they're soft, but they're maybe a little bit more finesse. We get a little bit more smash mouth, a little more tougher from the run game. I'm excited just thinking about it. And clearly, the way I'm talking, I'm foaming at the mouth and salivating just thinking about this Panthers running game because it's definitely going to start and end with the running game. And you can see Deuce Staley and James Campbell pushing around, joking with each other as well. But I just think that what we saw from this was Frank Reich putting together a coaching staff that we already knew was going to be great. But just getting to hear them, feel them interact with the players and just see how they have the freedom to actually do their own thing and are empowered to do their own thing and not just being ran by a dictator or being somebody at the top of the totem pole doing whatever they say goes and, you know what I'm saying, and swinging the gavel or whatever, like we had in maybe a former regime or any kind of cheesy, corny stuff. We actually are a serious football team now with serious football coaches that know what they're doing, that not are just winging it and saying, hey, go figure it out. They're teaching, they're showing these guys the ropes. Obviously, it's about the X's and O's. I mean, it's about the Jimmys and Joes, not the X's and O's. So the coaches only play a certain role. But we've seen last year from the turnaround from Matt Rule going to Steve Wilks, coaching matters, coaching matters, coaching matters. And David Tepper, he did not hold any resources back in securing a very experienced coaching staff, and I'm excited to see where this goes, man. I'm excited for part 2. If you have not seen it, I will link it down below. Go see that video. The Panthers Blueprint is a phenomenal watch, like I said, and I'll be breaking down the other 2 parts as well, so make sure you are subscribed with the bell icon. That way you get notifications every time I drop a video. Without further ado, I'm Aaron Duncan signing off for the necessary bluntness, though. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. I'll see you next time. Peace.